This video is for anyone who wants to understand the essential foundations of a modern Islamic governance model based on the principles of Sharia. It allows non-specialists, in particular, to discover how this model could influence the structure of the state, its administrative organization, its economic system, its legislation, its social model, as well as the potential impact it would have on the daily lives of citizens. Viewers will thus be able to grasp the principles and mechanisms of a societal and economic system founded on the Quran and the Sunnah, and to measure its possible impacts on society and the economy. This video also aims to inform the general public of the upcoming advent of the Caliphate state system in Morocco, founded on the precepts of the prophecy, particularly in the Moroccan context. The goal is to allow everyone to prepare for the changes likely to affect lifestyles as well as daily economic and social practices.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My brothers, today we will address a major topic, the Caliphate system, the authentic Islamic mode of governance. We will answer essential questions about the principles of the Caliphate system, its foundations, its structure, its objectives, and its prospects, relying on the Quran and the Sunnah. Go ahead, my brothers. Ask your questions. I am listening. But before I give you the floor, I would like to say that the Islamic governance model is nowadays generating growing interest among those who seek to understand alternatives to the dominant, oppressive political, economic, and social systems. This reflection is part of an approach aimed at analyzing a state model based on the principles of the Quran and the Sunnah, and at examining its possible implications for the organization of the state, the economy, legislation, and the daily lives of citizens. The objective is not only to present a theoretical framework, but also to enlighten the general public, especially non-specialists, on the mechanisms and purposes of a modern Islamic governance system, commonly known as the Caliphate. Before moving on to your questions, I would also like to specify that the Caliphate presents itself as a global model of governance aimed at establishing a state based on justice, equality, and sustainable economics. Inspired by the principles of Sharia, it aims to guarantee the rights of all citizens while offering an ethical and coherent alternative to contemporary political and economic systems. Through this vision, the Caliphate intends to be not only an institutional framework, but also a project for the profound transformation of society. Go ahead, my brothers. Ask your questions. Speak freely. I am listening.
What is the Caliphate system?
Caliphate is a centuries-old mode of governance that dates back to the post-prophetic era, established just after the death of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. It lasted nearly 30 years and saw the reign of 5 caliphs. The evolution of political systems since the prophetic phase has seen several types of governance, moving from prophecy to hereditary monarchies in the form of tyrannical monocracy, then to the oppressive regimes that prevail today. The return to the Caliphate based on the precepts of the prophecy will occur after the abolition of these oppressive regimes and the authoritarian world order that supports them.
What are the key principles of the Caliphate?
The Caliphate is an Islamic governance system based on Sharia, applied to all individuals without discrimination. It is an Islamic governance system inspired by the precepts of the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad.
What are the main objectives of the Caliphate?
The main objectives of the Caliphate are to establish a unified state that guarantees equality among all citizens while following the rules of Sharia, promoting the unity and equality of citizens, and aiming for the establishment of a unified state where rights and duties are the same for all, without distinction or discrimination.
What is the role of the Caliph in this new system?
Caliph is the supreme leader of the nation who guarantees the unity of the nation and the application of laws in accordance with the Quran and the Sunnah. The head of state guarantees respect for individual and collective rights and the fulfillment by every individual of their duty to the state and other citizens. All citizens have the duty to obey the leader in what is just and does not contradict the provisions of the Quran and the Sunnah. How is the state system structured? The mode of governance is based on the system of baya, that is, allegiance, which confers sovereignty to the nation, represented by the supreme leader of the nation. He is the guarantor of the unity of the nation, stability and prosperity, the protector of its institutions and their proper functioning, and the guardian of the consolidation of the foundations of the Islamic State and the good governance of the nation.
What are the basic foundations of the Caliphate's economic system?
The economic system of the state is based on the application of the fundamental principles of Islamic Sharia as stated in the Quran and the Sunnah. It relies on establishing the foundations and principles of the authentic Islamic economy, such as zakat, jizya, inheritances, waqf, kharaj, and al-ushur.
How will the economic system of the Caliphate state function?
The economic system of the Caliphate state is based on applying the principles of Sharia to break away from all phenomena contrary to the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah, such as usury, saving, hoarding, speculation, monopoly, fraud, price hiking, and the elimination of rent-seeking and corrupt systems. The Caliphate system calls for moderation and a middle path without excess or exaggeration, aims to support a sustainable and prosperous economy, and to ensure the security and protection of individual and collective rights.
Can the Caliphate eliminate disparities in society?
Absolutely. The Caliphate state will adopt an approach based on a balance between individual and public property, far from current economic doctrines. It will abolish all discrimination or sectarianism and establish equality between all individuals or groups of individuals in terms of rights and duties, by removing privileges as well as fiscal, financial, and administrative incentives granted to one category at the expense of another. It will reject social differences that promote a hierarchical society and will reduce the gaps and inequalities between different societal categories by promoting the equitable distribution of wealth and by imposing zakat and sadaqats, taking from the rich the dues owed to the poor.
What is the impact of the Caliphate on the monetary and financial system?
Radical transformations of the monetary and financial system will take place within an Islamic state based on Sharia under the Caliphate system. The main objectives are the elimination of interest rates from usury and the provisional establishment of interest-free loans granted by Al-Qard al-Hassan, the abolition of speculation, financial institutions, stock market, banks, insurance, and financial zones, the implementation of a wealth redistribution system via zakat and sadaqats, and the complete abolition of taxation, pension, and mutual fund systems. The creation of a new currency based on precious metals, notably the gold dinar.
What are the objectives of the Caliphate's economic model?
The economic system aims to transition from a rentier economy to a real economy based on the valuation of work. Moreover, refraining from work is now considered by Islamic law as an offense punishable by sanctions for any male individual with physical and mental capacity who was voluntarily unemployed. The Caliphate's economic model will aim to align with the commands of the Quran and the Sunnah through the suppression of the usurious interest system and the prohibition of saving and hoarding, the gradual transition from a tax-based financial system to a zakat-based system, the elimination of public and private borrowing, the increase of public spending and overall consumption, the fixing of prices and profit margins, and the abolition of monopolies, the elimination of unemployment in economic crises, and the achievement of full employment.
What are the main administrative reforms introduced?
The administrative system within the Caliphate state will undergo a series of changes, including the establishment of Thursday and Friday as weekend days instead of Saturday and Sunday. National holidays are abolished, and religious holidays will be extended to 7 paid days. Official working hours are also modified to 2 periods, the morning period from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the post-meridian period from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The return to Greenwich Mean Time will also be approved, while examining the possibility of adopting GMT-1 after studying the resulting consequences.
What are the new features regarding administrative statutes?
The new administrative structure of the Caliphate state
is based on the creation of a unified functional framework that integrates all categories of state employees, both civilian and military, working in different administrative sectors. All temporary, contractual, daily, and occasional administrative regimes are integrated into a unified functional regime. The remuneration system is standardized and generalized to all civil and military administrations based on the best remuneration system operating within the administration's services, with the introduction of performance bonuses and incentives as part of weekly pay. Salaries are paid in cash every week at the agencies of Bait Mal al-Muslimin upon simple presentation of the uniform ID card of the Caliphate state, without the obligation to travel each week to make the withdrawal. Civil and military ranks are standardized, unified, and their number is reduced to a 3-level system. Each military rank will have its equivalent in the civil service, and vice versa. Promotion times are shortened and their criteria are eased. All obstacles to the merger of civil and military services and to free mobility between the two administrations will be removed.
What does the strategy-based administrative structure mean?
The new administrative structure of the Caliphate state is based on the principle of the primacy of strategy and relies on a flexible and renewable structure based on the implementation of strategies rather than on a fixed and permanent administrative structure in time and space. Thus, according to this principle, administrative structures are dependent on the strategy and end with it. In other words, the term of any administrative body, regardless of its form, ends with the mission for which it was created, which must not exceed 2 years at most. At the expiration of this period, the administrative organization is either dissolved or its structures are renewed. However, some administrative organizations may remain in place longer, provided their structures are renewed every 2 years.
What are the reforms in the field of justice?
The state ensures the establishment of a fair and independent justice system separate from all state bodies. With the exception of criminal cases, misdemeanors, and divorces, which are judged by the Islamic judge, commonly called al-Qadi ash-Shari, other disputes are submitted to quasi-judicial bodies called mediation instances. These intervene amicably to settle disputes in the cases submitted to them. The mediation instances operate in the areas of real estate, family, commercial, administrative, and professional.
What are the security bodies in the Caliphate state?
The state's security authorities are the Army and the Public Space Protection Forces attached to it, responsible for intervening in emergencies to protect public spaces, preserve internal security, and maintain order, while the Army is responsible for external security. In this context, the integration of all security bodies into the Army will be carried out in accordance with a judicial approach built on post hoc deterrence by strengthening sanctions, far from any form of policing of society. Likewise, the prohibition of the activities of oppressive bodies will be implemented, as well as the abolition of secret services and the launch of prosecution campaigns against them.
What about free access to state social services? Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. The state commits to generalizing free access to social services in the fields of health, education, housing, employment, and transportation for the benefit of all layers of society, regardless of category. The state commits to guaranteeing free basic services, such as landline telephony, a complete supply of drinking water, and progressively electricity. In the field of health, the state commits to providing all health services for free: medical consultations, medical examinations and analyses, nursing care, medicines, and post-medical follow-ups. The state also ensures free access to education. Through housing allowances, the state commits to facilitating access to housing and removing all obstacles that prevent all segments of the population, especially low-income individuals, from accessing decent housing. The state commits to guaranteeing the quality and free provision of all public transport services, including school transport, without any social or geographical discrimination.
How does the family support system work?
The family support system involves the payment of monthly aid to vulnerable social categories, such as married women, divorcees, and widows. It also includes the payment of monthly aid to other vulnerable groups and their dependent families, such as orphans, elderly, people with disabilities, street children, and the homeless.
The state will also grant 6 housing aids, an exceptional aid to the father of the family, and substantial aid to exemplary families. In addition, it will support future spouses by offering 2 types of housing aid, a substantial monthly allowance for the wife, in addition to that paid by the husband, and increased and guaranteed dowries. A special bonus for the dowry will also be granted to newlyweds.
What measures are taken to improve purchasing power?
A range of measures will be taken to improve purchasing power. Thus, the salary and performance bonus systems will be unified and integrated into the base salary. A general salary increase will be implemented, affecting all civil and military administrative personnel of the Caliphate state. The salary system will be established on 3 tiers of pay grades. The first category will receive 13 gold dinars per month, the second 10 dinars, and the third 7 dinars, knowing that 1 dinar is equivalent to 4.25 grams of pure gold. Income tax will be reduced with a view to its final abolition. Bank transfers for salaries will be abolished. Salaries will be paid in full, in cash, without any deductions. Weekly salary payments will be established. Retirement contributions will be abolished, and the sums already collected will be reimbursed to their beneficiaries. Mutual fund and health insurance contributions will be abolished. Retirees will have the option to resume professional activity or remain under the old system. In conclusion, we can summarize by saying that the Caliphate system, intended to succeed the current regimes deemed oppressive, is presented as a modern Islamic mode of governance, whose foundations from the Quran and the Sunnah confer sovereignty to the nation represented by its caliph. Profound changes are planned at the economic, social, and administrative levels. Thus, the economy is radically transformed to break with practices contrary to Islam in matters of employment, interest, currency, finance, and taxation. Social inequalities are reduced through an equitable distribution of wealth, notably via zakat and sadaqats, free public services, social aid programs for disadvantaged groups, and an increase in purchasing power through a range of rapid and effective measures. The organization of justice and security is also rethought through the establishment of an Islamic judicial system and an extrajudicial system. My brothers, after this overview of a topic as fascinating as the Caliphate as a modern Islamic mode of governance, I hope you are now convinced that the Caliphate system, inspired by the foundations of the Quran and the Sunnah, and based on ethical principles such as justice, equality, social solidarity, and economic sustainability, will henceforth constitute for you the most suitable framework to guarantee the rights of all citizens, and the undeniable means to ensure economic and social development and to reconquer the prosperity of the nation of Islam. Before closing this meeting, I would like to add that the advent of the Caliphate system in Morocco is inevitable. In doing so, Moroccans are strongly urged to fully understand the mechanisms of the Caliphate's mode of governance, as well as its operating procedures, so as not to be caught off guard by the turmoil of future events on the national and world stage. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you soon.